Good morning, everybody! Woohoo! Here we are again. Let's do it. Got an interesting topic for you today, and it is about how damages. Today we're going to talk about how there's a concept of damages and how that is destroying so much in the fabric of our society. Okay, so there's a concept that we have in the law, but this concept is somehow seeped in, as many things do in the law, into our entire society and how we deal with and interact with each other. And it's actually become quite harmful. So let me break it down for you. Have you noticed how people today, a lot of times like in the news or in the media or just in people you hang out with, they are oftentimes, it's whoever is screaming the loudest, like, oh, I'm the most hurt, I'm the most offended, you said that thing and that really, really offended me, right? And how that kind of gives them a sense of justification, right? Like the more offended they are, the more right they are, or the more moral they are somehow, right? So this is a concept, right? It's like saying, because I'm wounded, therefore I'm right, right? Instead of really understanding the concept of what we talked about, right? Which is the fundamental principles of asking yourself, is it a violation of your body? Is it a violation of your creations? Is it a violation of the deal? Or is it a violation of the effect? Hey, Olivia. So when you understand that these are the primary issues, these are the principles, these are the violations, if you violate this, then that is actually a moral issue. Instead of just, well, I'm so offended, right? Now, why has this become an issue in our society today? It's because in the law, we have a concept called, hey niece, how are you? In the law, we have a concept where we, so instead of just saying, okay, you violated one of these things, you broke one of these things, okay? You also have to show that the person that you did it to was somehow damaged so that they can calculate how much money to give you. See? Now, this is a practical thing that they have in the law because they're saying, well, if you violate somebody, we need to be able to see, we cannot change what you did, so we need to just give them money for it. So we have to calculate how much money we have to give them, right? But this has become a huge issue in our society because instead of just accepting that, okay, this was a violation, this was an absolute violation, it happened, I don't have to be damaged for it to be wrong, for it to be morally wrong. But instead in our society, this thing from the law and from lawsuits has seeped into our consciousness to where we feel like we have to actually prove that we were somehow damaged in order to show that what that other person did to us was a violation and was wrong. What comes up with this is that we start, instead of demonstrating how the actual thing was wrong that someone did, right? You grabbed my ass, right? That's a violation of my property right in my body. I don't have to show that I feel emotionally damaged or that it physically hurt me, right? That was just purely a violation. That was it, right? And that should be enough, see? But what happens when we have to prove we have to prove damages is that this has seeped into society now where everybody is crying about how much I've been damaged, okay? And they feel like they have to show and demonstrate, I'm so damaged, I'm so hurt, I'm so offended. And then if they do that, then other people will notice them and will say, oh yes, you're morally right and that person's morally wrong. But they're only doing that because we don't have a clear understanding and a clear line of what actually is a violation and what is not a violation. You see? Now, with this framework, we have that very clear understanding. We know immediately if somebody violates your body, if they touch your property without your permission, right? If they violate your creations, if they violate the deal, if they violate the effect. We know immediately with that. It makes it super clear and simple. So we have a way now to deal with this that we didn't necessarily have before. But what happens in society right now is that instead of people being able to say, yeah, you did this shitty thing, you violated my property right, and so, but you did it. I don't have to be hurt. I don't have to be hurt for that to be wrong. You see? It's a subtle thing, and if you don't get it, I understand, but it's a really, really important principle in how we are all interacting in society right now, in how everyone is crying and screaming about certain types of things in an effort, in a valid effort, I guess, to show that someone has done something to me, I've somehow been violated, and nobody's paying attention, okay? So in a way, I understand that principle, but the backlash is where instead of actually looking at asking the right questions and saying, did an actual violation take place here of someone's property right, we're just looking at how offended or hurt the person is claiming to be. You see? So that's creating a fundamental, I think, negative shift in our society because of this concept of damages inherent in lawsuits, right? It's seeped into our whole society now. So what was used as just a practical way to try to figure out, how much money do we pay you, has now become sort of a core issue in our society. So anyway, think about that. The real issue and the way this applies to healing, though, is actually quite important, because what happens a lot of times is that people don't, there's a lot of times, and this is well documented by psychologists and therapists who are trying to help people recover and trying to help people heal, that this is a huge block for many people, is they feel like if I get better, then like my parents who abused me or whatever, it's like I'm saying that they didn't do a bad thing, right? It's like I'm saying those guys that hurt me, that damaged me, that abused me, that they're not wrong, bad, or at fault. Okay, that's what people feel like. It's subconscious, and so what happens is they hold on to the pain, they hold on to the suffering, they hold on to the drama and the trauma, and they don't release it and get better because they feel like if I do that, then I'm saying that what that other person did wasn't wrong and it wasn't a violation. And that is how this concept of damages seeping into our society is really hindering people from finding freedom and from achieving their healing, from achieving full healing, right? It's a huge issue with that. So once we recognize that damages has no part in a violation, it is a part of it, it can be a part of it, but doesn't have to be a part of it. So that means that if someone violates your property right in your body, they violate that, you don't even have to be damaged, it's still wrong. And when we can appreciate that, we understand that, we accept it, then that can leave us free to heal as well. We're not trapped in this thing where I have to be hurt or damaged and I have to prove I am in order for the perpetrator or the person who did that to me to be seen as wrong or as bad, right? We can let that go. And that is such a relief, and that is such a freedom to so many people who need to heal and who haven't been able to heal because of that subconscious psychological block that they have to hold on to that pain and trauma to make that person that did it to them recognize that they did something bad or wrong, right? So when we recognize that the act itself was bad or wrong, regardless of any damage or trauma, then we can be free to just say, okay, yeah, no, it was wrong. They did it. That's it. I got it, but I don't need to carry the pain and the trauma and the weight of that with me. I can just release it. I can let it go. and I can heal and still know that that thing was a violation and they should be held accountable for it. But I don't need to carry the pain to make that the case. So, yeah, that's what I want to talk about today, how the concept of damages in lawsuits and in the legal field has completely just seeped into our society and created a very negative environment for us, for people, and for how we deal, even fundamentally down to how we deal with owning and healing our own pain and trauma. So that's what we're talking about today. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. You guys take care. Bye.